What's something only kids who had utility shutoff notices would understand? In 6th grade, I learned to recognize the orange envelopes before my mom did. They'd show up taped to our apartment door, official looking with bold letters warning about disconnection dates. I'd peel them off quickly and shove them in my backpack before anyone walking by could see. My friends talked about their biggest problems being slow Wi-Fi or their parents threatening to take away their phones. I stayed quiet because my biggest problem was wondering if we'd have electricity when I got home from school. The first time it actually happened, I was 10 years old doing homework at the kitchen table when everything went dark. Mom cried in her bedroom for 2 hours while I sat in the hallway pretending I couldn't hear. After that, I developed a system. When the orange envelopes appeared, I'd start charging my phone and laptop at school during lunch. I'd fill water bottles before the cutoff date in case we lost water too. I became an expert at homework by candlelight and cold showers in the dark. My teachers never knew why I always volunteered to stay after school for extra help. It wasn't because I struggled with the material, it was because our apartment was freezing without heat and the school was warm. When friends invited me to sleepovers, I'd say yes immediately. Free electricity, hot showers, lights that worked when you flipped the switch. I'd charge every device I owned before going home the next day. The worst part wasn't living without power. It was the lying. When kids asked why I never hosted sleepovers, I'd say my mom was super strict about guests. When they asked why I showered at the gym before school, I'd say I liked working out in the mornings. When my phone died during lunch and stayed dead all day, I'd claim I forgot my charger. The lies stacked up until I couldn't remember what was true anymore. One Friday, my best friend Kiara invited me to her birthday party that weekend. Indoor trampoline park, pizza, cake, the works. I said yes, even though our power had been shut off Wednesday and wouldn't be back on until mom's next paycheck. I just needed to get through 2 more days without anyone noticing. Saturday morning, Kiara's mom picked me up at the apartment complex entrance because I'd told her our door number was broken and hard to find. I'd showered in cold water in complete darkness and gotten dressed using my phone flashlight. Kiara's house was 3 stories with heating that worked perfectly and lights in every room that turned on without thinking about it. During the party, her little brother complained that the house was too hot and their dad adjusted the thermostat without even checking a bank account first. I watched him do it and felt something crack inside my chest. After cake, Kiara's mom asked if I wanted to stay over since it was getting late. I should have said no. Instead, I said yes because our apartment was 40 degrees inside and I didn't want to go back. Sunday morning, Kiara suggested we surprise my mom with coffee from the fancy place downtown. I panicked and made up an excuse about my mom being out of town, staying at my aunt's house. Some elaborate story that made no sense. Kiara's mom looked confused but didn't push. She drove me home and waited to make sure I got inside safely. I walked to the complex entrance, waved goodbye, then sat on the stairs in the dark hallway for 20 minutes until I was sure she'd left. When I finally went into our apartment, Mom was sitting in the kitchen wrapped in blankets with a battery-powered lantern. She'd been rationing the batteries for 3 days. I broke down and told her everything. The lies, the sleepovers, the charging devices at school, how exhausting it was to pretend we were fine. Mom held me while I cried and said something I'll never forget. You shouldn't have to carry this alone. 2 days later, she found a second job working overnight at a warehouse. Within 6 weeks, she'd caught up on every utility bill and built a small emergency fund. But the thing that changed wasn't just the lights staying on. Mom started talking to me about money honestly instead of hiding the orange envelopes. She taught me which bills got paid first and why. She showed me her budget spreadsheet and let me help find places to save. The power got shut off one more time when I was 14, but this time we sat together in the dark, making plans instead of hiding in separate rooms pretending it wasn't happening. Years later, I paid off my mom's mortgage and installed solar panels on her house.